What's going on, guys? Naz here on the Spooling Up channel. Today I'm currently sat in a MK4 Golf GTI, and what I'm going to be doing today is changing the in-tank fuel pump. Now, there are many different options you can go for. I've chosen a KEMSO one, which claims to deliver 265 litres per hour. I did previously have an APS fuel pump, which I believe claims to deliver around the same amount of fuel, but I overpaid for it on Demon Tweak, so I sent it back and I bought this KEMSO one. Was previously looking at Cytec as well, which delivered 300 litres per hour, and also Bartec. But I've gone for the KEMSO in the end because I've heard they're pretty good. I heard they deliver the closest to what they claim, but still not 265 litres per hour. I'm not going to test it myself anyway, just going to go ahead and fit it. The reason why I'm doing it is because apparently the standard fuel pump you get is probably good enough to deliver enough fuel for a stage 2 map, but over the years where it's obviously become knackered, now it probably won't be sufficient. So I've bought a straight swap fuel pump, so it's like an OEM replacement, but it's higher performance. So yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at that and then get fitting it. So first things first, let's take a look at what I've bought. Here's the KEMSO fuel pump. Should just be a direct swap for the old one. Literally take the old one out, put this new one in, should be all good. Other bits that come with it: hose, new sort of gasket or washer for the sender unit itself, wiring kit if you want to upgrade the wires, the gauze for the bottom of the sender unit, and new Jubilee clips in there as well. So kit comes complete with quite a few bits and bobs. And then I've got a new sender unit here as well. Well, I say new, but I actually bought it secondhand from eBay. Comes complete as well with a pump in it, and that's so if I really want to, I'm probably gonna put this new fuel pump into this sender unit, so I can just take the old basket out and drop this one straight in, rather than working on one that's actually got fuel all over it and is wet. Another thing you can do is you could just have this as a spare. Do your best to swap into the original one that you've got in the car, and then if that doesn't work out well for you, you can use this one. But yeah, let's go ahead and start stripping things down. Right, so the next thing we want to do is pop the fuse box cover open, go for fuse number 28, which is the third up from the right. There isn't a fuse here, so 1, 2, 3, it will be that 15 amp fuse there. These pliers for getting out the fuses are awful as well, so just pop that out, put it somewhere safe. Right, so that should be the fuse for the fuel pump. So if I start it, should die out pretty quickly. There we go, car's dead. So that's just going to empty all the fuel from the fuel lines. Turn it back off. Note that I had just over half a tank of fuel. If I do end up using this sender unit here, which I probably will, I want to make sure that that arm for the level sensor float is not bent and it shows me the same amount of fuel that I've got now. Otherwise it could throw that off big time. Right guys, so the next thing you want to do is just get a 10mm and disconnect your negative terminal from the battery. Just tuck that out of the way for now. Right, so now we'll come inside the car. Probably easier if you've got a 4-door, so you don't have to squeeze past the front seat. But we want to come to the back and we want to just lift the seat up and out of the way to uncover the rear carpet here underneath the seat. Lift the flap up, and here's the plate cover for the sender unit, basket, fuel pump, whatever you want to call it. Now I want to make things a little bit easier for myself, so I really want to get rid of this rear bench. Just got to unhook it, pull it out of the way, and I'm going to throw it in the boot for now so I can get in here properly. Use your Phillips screwdriver and get rid of the 3 screws holding this plate on. Let's get those out of the way and store them somewhere safe. It should then be pretty simple to get this plate out of the way, and then here we are with the basket or sender unit, what I was showing you there that I bought as a spare. So unplug that, tuck this plug out of the way best you can for now, and then we're left with the fuel lines. So we'll have to disconnect both of these as well. Hopefully not too much fuel spill, but you will definitely get some come out of those lines. It's really simple with these lines. There's just a little tab on them that you need to push in, and then you can pull them off. Just pushing in at the top and then pull, and it should just pop off. I may have to use a screwdriver for that one, so I'm going to put my camera down. Okay, so at this stage here, you've now got that removed. It's time to pull the whole unit out. Just be careful, there will be fuel, which is why I've got a bottom of a 5 litre bottle. My bucket is being used for other things at the minute, so I have to go a bit ghetto and use that. And don't forget to get some rag as well and put it around. I'm going to go ahead and pull this out now, but I'm going to do it off camera. It may be a little tricky. You've got to kind of pull it out of the way without getting that arm caught for the float, but just pull it out and pop it in there, and then we'll take it outside the car. Right guys, so give it a little jiggle. Make sure that the rubber washer around the outside comes up with the top half, otherwise you won't get the bottom part down. You can see there's quite a lot of fuel in there. I'm just going to pull this out and plonk it into my bucket, but I'm going to be careful because the arm's on this side and I want to make sure that I don't damage it. Okay, so the unit's out. While it's out, I'm just going to bang that cover back over just to prevent any bits of dust or anything going in there. And here's the removed unit. So I'm still in two minds whether to start working on this or whether to work on the other one I've got. I'll just inspect them and see what one's in better condition. So before I went any further, just wanted to make sure that the part numbers on the two were the same. I believe it says 1J091905H. So this is the one I've removed and this is the one I'm going to be fitting. Part numbers are the same, so I'm going to get cracking with this one because this is too full of fuel and it's just going to make a bit of a mess. So I'm going to go for the dry one and start taking this apart now. As you can see, we've got an arrow going out, which will be the fuel supply to the engine, and then return there, which actually has a R written next to it. And underneath, if you look at this port here, when we flip it up, the hose that goes from the pump all the way around to that supply port, we need to remove. So I'm going to go ahead by getting my screwdriver in here and trying to flick these two clips off. Now if you do struggle for access to those hoses inside here, what you can do is remove the 4 Torx screws on this side and pull this up out of the way, and that will give you a lot more access inside. Right guys, so what I did in the end with the hose, because I've got a new one, just sliced down it with a Stanley, because these are pretty much really hard and they're stuck onto the parts of the basket or sender unit, whatever you want to call it. So had to slice it off and get them off. Now obviously the hose is gone, so I should just take the wires off now and need to flick these tabs up with a screwdriver to separate it all, but I'll show you how I'm doing that. So it's pretty easy to get these terminals off. There's just a little tab that you need to push in with your thumb, and that allows you to slide it off. And here, the same, there's a tiny tab you need to push in, and then you're able to pull it off. So once you have got those wires off, you can see that there's no way that you can really get it wrong because the terminal sizes are completely different. So that's pretty easy. Just make sure that you get the pump pointing back in the right direction when you're done. Right guys, so the next thing you want to do is just work your way around the top, flicking these tabs off. And once we get all of those off, the top of it should pop off, and we can then be left with the bottom half. Right, so then we need to pull the pump out. It will be in there quite stiff. Just have to give it a bit of a twist and a fiddle and it should pop out, and we should have seals on the outside and inside. And again, there's only really one way the pump can go in for it to work properly, but we've got some new seals with our new pump anyway. But yeah, for now just be taking this out and throwing it to the side really. I know it works, so I might just keep it as a spare. So so don't forget the rubber seal in here as well, which will basically be at the top of the pump. We've also got a new one of those. Next thing I'm doing, first of all, just take note of where it came from. It's right here. Just pull this whole bottom gauze off, because we've also got a new one of these. In the bottom you can get left with the tiniest little bits of sediment in there. Obviously this is supposed to filter it out, and then obviously you've got your fuel filter as well later down the line. But you can give this a little wash out if you want. I've just used a bit of petrol from the sender unit that I have taken out, gave it a good old shake around and poured it somewhere safe. Right guys, so here's the new pump. All I'm going to be doing is fitting the new O-rings. First of all, the little one on the inside. Now there's only so far you can push this in. You can just make sure that it's seated nicely, and then obviously the bigger one on the outside, make sure that it's seated nicely and it's not twisted as well. Now once you've got everything prepped, you can go ahead, seat the pump in. Once you've got it where you know it needs to go, give it a good firm push until you know that it's pressed in properly and those O-rings are sealing at the bottom. Right, so here we are, new gauze is on, everything lines up. I've shined my torch in there to make sure that it's actually going inside the bottom of the pump. Pump's in, everything's facing the right way. It's just time to do the reverse order now and put things back together. Don't forget to get your third seal on top, just so that when we put the top of it back on, it seals nicely in there as well. Right, once you've clicked the top back on, it should go on nice and easy. Just make sure you hold the bottom and click the top back on. I've got my wires back on, and I'll just be putting that new hose from the pump itself to where it supplies fuel up and out to the lines. You can replace the wires if you want, just be prepared to solder inside at the back. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put that hose on. Don't forget the new clips that come in the kit as well, and I'll just be putting the hose on now. Right guys, so just a real quick piece of advice. When you're putting this hose on, which is actually really long, the other one's a lot smaller, so it's going to take a bit of bending to get this one back into the tank. But I would dip the ends of the hose into some hot water to soften them before you push them onto the ports, because you're going to struggle massively otherwise. But I've got both of them on now. I'm just going to do the hose clips up, and then we're pretty much done with the swap. Right guys, so pretty much done it there. Just make sure that everything's on nicely, all your hose clamps are done up, the wires are all back on, and everything's looking good. This doesn't look bent, it looks pretty nice. That's all clipped into place. 4 torque screws are back on. I'm going to give the top a tiny little clean and put that new washer on around the top here so that it goes into the tank nicely, and then I'll be sliding it back in. Right, so that's it, it's all done, it's all ready now. You might have a little bit of difficulty getting that rubber up on the top, but I actually removed the float or the level sensor and managed to squeeze it up. So I'm literally going to drop this in the tank now, and that's it. Connect the last bits up and then fire it up. So the whole unit's back in. Don't forget to try and put it in exactly how it came out. I'm talking about the angles and stuff. As you can see, this arrow is pointing at the back. It just means that your fuel lines will line up nicely. Do it up nice and tight. I actually used 2 screwdrivers, so I pushed on one of these tabs down on this side and pushed up on the other side at the same time with them, and it gives you a nice good method of doing that back up. Don't forget to make sure that your fuel lines click in nicely and that this plug clicks in nicely, and then we're good to put the plate back on. Well, I could really check first to make sure that the car starts up, but I'm pretty confident it will. So I'm going to put it all back together and then give it a crank up and give it a little short test drive, and then hopefully we're good. Fuse is back in, battery is connected back up. Just going to prime it a couple of times. Steering lock's on, of course. Okay, hopefully we fire up. Here we go. Good stuff. Time for a little test drive. Right guys, so just as I thought things were going perfectly, obviously the car started up, the pump was working, but when I jumped in my car to go for a test drive, you'll actually see it on the last clip. My fuel gauge was showing empty, and I know I've got about 2/3 of a tank in the car, so I knew that the fuel level sensor on that new sender unit or basket unit, whatever you want to call it, wasn't working. So I was able to swap the level sensor from the one I took out of the car onto the dry one that I bought from eBay and fitted, and now that works absolutely fine. Obviously I thought I was being smart, fit the pump to one that hasn't just come off the car, and then when it comes to it, you can take the old one out and just throw the new one straight in. I didn't do that anyway, but that was my plan. Obviously when you buy things secondhand, you take a gamble, and the gamble is that it might not work. You know, you're taking someone's word for it. I could have bought brand new, but I didn't, and there you go, I've paid the price for it in the end. So it had to all come back out of the car and had to swap the level sensors over. Test drive, things were absolutely fine. Obviously I'm not noticing any difference because the old pump wasn't defective, so I haven't gained any performance there, and also I haven't had the car mapped, so you know, everything's just the same as it was before. It's just prep work, and that new pump's in there ready to go. Next thing I'm going to be doing on the Golf is I'm going to be changing the track rods, because last time I took the car to get tracked after doing the wishbones, they couldn't track it properly because I think the lock nuts were seized, or the track rods themselves were rounded off, so when they were trying to make their adjustments they couldn't. They could get all the wheels nicely aligned, but the steering wheel was slightly off, so I'm going to have to change those track rods, get that sorted. But guys, thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to the Spooling Up channel, and I'll see you guys on the next video.